So folks, welcome to this episode of The Rumble. Today I have a lady who's into, I wouldn't say unusual profession, but definitely rare for a lady. She's a builder, and we've been trying to get our hands on some builders to ask them some tough questions because, ever since this building collapsed the other day somewhere in the suburbs of Chennai, it's always people wondering, how does this business work? Is it organized or is it just fly-by-night businesses? So welcome to the show, Rama.
Hello.
Rama Chandiramani, which is actually Chandramani.
Yes, it is.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're an inadvertent Sindhi.
Yeah, I am not a Sindhi. I'm an Iyer, South Indian.
So definitely Chandiramani is not on. It is Chandramani.
It is Chandramani.
So how did the I sneak in?
Probably numerology. Yeah.
Oh, your father?
Father-in-law.
Oh,
That's my husband's name. It's my surname.
Yeah. Okay. So they were the ones who were into taking advice for improving your fortunes or changing your spellings and all that. A lot of people believe that. Do you ever do that for your housing?
No, I don't.
Rams, you make it into 2 A's, 4 R's, no. People do all sorts of things.
Yeah, because each alphabet is supposed to represent a number and should add up to something favoring your personal number or whatever.
Okay.
But we are not into that.
You just stick to RAM.
RAM with an S.
Apostrophe S?
No.
Oh, just RAMS.
S, because we preferred that 4-letter.
4-letter word better than a 3-letter word.
Yeah.
So you've been how long in the building industry?
Personally, since 1981.
Okay.
Feb 1st was the day I joined my father in the business.
Okay.
He was already in it more than 20 years before I joined him.
And he was a professional builder?
No, he was by qualification an advocate.
Okay.
And his senior was dabbling in a bit of real estate, and that interested my father. So way back in the 50s, late 50s, he started building independent houses.
Oh, those days were all bungalows.
Apartments were an unheard of concept those days.
Correct.
So he started building independent houses initially. And in 1969, my dad built the first apartment complex. He's supposed to have registered the first undivided share in Chennai or in Tamil Nadu.
Okay. Oh, so what's special about the undivided share?
Well, as long as you were constructing bungalows, you were registering land which was by meets and bounds.
Okay.
It was a length into breadth, a square or a rectangle.
Yes.
But when it came to building apartments, you were registering undivided share of land.
Oh, so it's one chunk but still allotted to different owners.
If it was whatever is the extent of the land, it was divided to 20 people. So each one will get 1/20th undivided share. So you can't say this is my land. It's all common.
Okay. So when they get knocked down or redeveloped or something like that, what happens at that point? It still continues?
Again you continue with your ownership, which would be 1/20th or whatever is the percentage there.
So when he sells his apartment to someone else, he sells it along with his undivided share?
No.
Or the next buyer
when
takes
they redevelop it, obviously they're going to bring down the old construction.
No, if he just sells his own apartment.
Yeah, if he sells, he'll convey the 1/20th share which he owns along with the built-up area, whatever 1,000 square feet or whatever is there in his agreement. He will convey that.
So how did the business get into this apartment thing? It was very strange in Tamil Nadu because there was no need that type of land as far as the eye could see. Why did he actually build an apartment? It's just he loved it?
He was quite impressed with the Bombay type of ownership apartments, which were, it was a big thing in Bombay, apartments.
They had no land, so then they necessarily built on top of each other.
Yeah, but in Chennai, he thought, why not introduce at lower cost? See, the first project my father promoted way back in 1969, as I was just telling you, was sold at 30 rupees a square foot.
Okay.
So 1,000 square foot, that was in Mandavali Pakam, where today people are selling at 15,000 plus. Okay. So he was selling at 30 rupees in 1969. And that included land cost, construction cost, and his...
And all the fittings, whatever went along with it.
Everything.
So it's just an insane upward graph thanks to inflation. Is that what all that... You're not providing anything better these days, are you? It's the same...
Yeah, in fact, our old customers come and tell me whenever they bump into me at some... wherever, they tell me that your construction is so strong, the old one.
Okay.
We can't put a nail on the wall and all that. This is kind of...
Are they also saying that nowadays I can push a pin in with my finger?
Exactly. The quality is definitely not what it was those days.
So whose fault is that?
Well, generally the resource itself, even you get a tap now, it just breaks. Whereas things were so strong earlier. Maybe they were using real brass those days, whereas now you use something that's an alloy or something that's not
Maybe
so strong.
it's like cash. We used to have silver coins and gold coins.
Yes.
And now we find that this little metal thing is only a representative. So we don't need to have the real expensive. We end up in aluminum coins. But in these kind of things in houses, you can't just say this is representational of a pillar and start putting plastic inside the pillars.
No way. The quality and structural standards have to be met with.
So who's there to enforce all that in the building trade? Actually enforce.
That is the problem here, because the plan approval only is being given by the Chennai Metropolitan Development Authority or CMD.
So doesn't it have specs on it? That the rod that goes inside the pillar should be of this thickness, should be this strong?
We have to give a structural stabilities report and a certificate.
Okay.
And there's a structural engineer who's supposed to be associated with the project right from the inception.
I like the way you say supposed to be. You're not sure whether it actually happens.
It has to happen.
Okay.
It does happen for a lot of builders who've been around for a long time.
Okay.
But, so many people don't adhere to this.
Let's take this case of this one building that collapsed the other day.
Yeah.
The reason for it collapsed, the various reasons attributed. One is that they actually removed some pillars which were inconvenient to sell parking space. Yeah. And therefore the building was standing on fewer legs. And then it broke. But even then, if the steel and all that, or the type of cement that you're using, or the bricks or whatever, if that is of inferior quality, how do you know? These are all made without any standardization. Do they have any ISO for bricks?
Not for bricks. Okay. But I don't think a brick can basically bring down a building.
Why? If the bricks crumble, that's the end of your building.
No, the foundation is what has crumbled in this instance. So, which has probably led to the whole thing piling
even if the
down.
foundation crumbles and it drops an entire one floor down, the rest of it should have been standing. But they all concertinaed into each other and smashed everything down like pancakes.
Yeah, it must have, had a retaliatory effect over all the pillars. Because when the foundation, maybe, it was the pile foundation was not properly enforced. Yeah, the depth, because it was probably loose soil. And the pile had to be put really deep, or probably, there is this hearsay in the market that only so many floors were approved, and then later several floors were added.
So folks, you heard it from the builder herself. She herself has no idea how the hell that darn thing happened. And I hope that one day we will get the real truth. When you come back and find out who is going to give us the truth, and what should we be looking for when you buy an apartment. So we open the Hindu or the Times of India every day, and we see these big full-page ads of fancy-looking buildings, all kinds of fittings inside, and the living room is all done up, and the dining room is done up, and the bedrooms are done up, and that has really nothing to do with the construction, because that is individual taste. Yes. So why aren't the builders coming clean on what is the building that is actually going to deliver to you, rather than divert you with all this? Why aren't they getting straight?
Yeah, that's something that I also agree with you, because the model apartment or the mock-up apartment which builders do, they jazz it up with all kinds of amenities. There's furnishing.
Yes, and, imported furniture.
There's all kinds. There's a false ceiling, and then there's air conditioning. There's furniture. There are so many things in that done-up apartment, which is not really there in the product which they're going to give you.
But sometimes they sell it. These upmarket apartments are sold with all these.
Yeah, that also happens.
Yeah.
But normally the model apartment is done up. But there are some people who would probably tell you that all these are extra in this. Normally all the builders will tell the clients that this is a model apartment, it's fully furnished. We can do the same thing for you if you pay this much extra cost.
So half the cost that they're pushing is for the cost of the settee and the dining table and the crystal glass in the cupboards. But the building itself, we really have no way of gauging. Is there any guideline or any kind of reference book that the government has issued, or maybe you as a builder or your association of builders have printed, which says, you want to build a house in this part of the town, this is what it should approximately cost you? Is there any guidelines? Are we left to the mercy of real estate? Agents?
You can't crucify builders all the time. Because,
estate agents I'm talking. They're the ones who...
The estate agents?
Yeah.
Neither those guys, because they only represent what the builders tell them or what the landowner quotes as his land price. The estate agents convey that to the probable buyers. So the builders, they have to buy land at a particular cost, whatever is the market value.
And that's also hidden?
It is not hidden.
In the sense there must be a lot of black money, illegal stuff, changing hands.
No longer, because most properties are today funded entirely by bank loans, or at least a major component is a bank loan. So this kind of a problem is really not I don't think it's so glaring anymore. Yeah, it is
not a major part of the...
I don't think that's anything very substantial. But, the main thing that the builders have to face is rising land costs and escalating construction costs.
See, when somebody sells you a plot of land,
yes,
he's just selling you the land as land.
Yes.
What you do with the land is what the builder does. So you can bring in world-renowned architects and make a 50-story building or a 100-story building or 10-story building. Yes. So the landlord has got nothing to do with it, and he sold you the land.
Yeah.
And then now to divide it among the new buyers, and then charge them some astronomical amount of money, that's patently unfair, and it's almost like cheating.
This is what you all think. But in every area, we have something like a floor space index, which is controlled by the CMDA. They are the developing authority, and they tell you that in this parcel of 10,000 square feet of land, you can only construct 15,000.
Okay.
So I can't engage a contractor and build a 10-story or a 50-story building there, because tilt plus 4 is what is normally permitted on most 10-meter roads.
And you know that when you buy it. As a builder, you know that.
Yeah, we do know that when we buy. So we know how to calculate, Suppose I'm buying this land for so many crores, and I am only able to build this much square feet, which is 1.5 times of what is the land extent. I know what's my land cost per square foot.
But is the government revising all that now in the new norms, or is it going downward revision or upward revision?
No, the guideline value has got no relevance to the...
No, value is value of the land. I'm talking about building. So then you say I'm allowed to build 1.5 times the land area, or twice or thrice. So who decides that?
The CMDA, the government probably, but it's implemented by the CMDA.
Yeah, so what is the basis of that? Is that also done by you builders in an organization, or is that done through an independent organization?
We have no say over that. It is the CMDA, which is the implementing authority. It's the development authority, and they have got these guidelines, which is obviously passed as a bill by the government.
Okay.
So recently we had the 2008. The complete plans were all modified. The master plan was modified, and they came out with the rules. And this 1.5 has been in existence for a very long time.
Okay,
on most roads in Chennai.
Yeah, those days, the roads were narrow and the bungalows, so it's okay. But now with apartments coming up, how can they still...
See, it's only roads outside the city limit where the roads are so broad, and the land parcels are larger, where this concept of multi-storied building has come into play.
No, they're building things even in the older parts of the city. They tear down a 2-floor bedroom and they put up a 4-story, 5-story.
Yeah, provided that particular plot has got the capacity to, get a permit to build so many extra floors.
So that's where all the corruption comes in. I guess at some point
No. The rules are clearly...
You can't break and bend the law? It doesn't happen?
You cannot do it.
Yeah?
Yeah. At least not in my purview.
That's
not my experience.
To hear. Yeah. So what is it with low-cost housing? Why is it that India is simply unable to house its people? In spite of so many centuries of a growing population slowly increasing, we've got all the land in the world. I think we are the 10th largest nation in the world. We still don't have housing. Of course, they keep complaining that land is too expensive or whatever. So, did you ever go and have any plans of your own to just do low cost or almost no cost housing?
Yeah, I've heard this low cost housing is a myth as far as builders are concerned, because you can only enforce low cost or no cost in your terminology only if the land is given free by the government.
Yeah. And you pay only for the construction and the
builder has
margins.
only look at the construction cost.
And take a margin out of that.
Yeah. He's satisfied. Most builders would be satisfied about 10-15% return on their investment, which is fair enough.
Correct.
And so the construction cost is the only thing that the builder has to charge a prospective buyer.
Yes.
If land is given free by the government.
Yes.
And in such a case, what happens is the government should also give you subsidies if you want to do low-cost housing. Excise duties and other taxes form a major part of the construction cost, at least as far as materials. The construction cost comprises of material.
Let's imagine that you say, my entire construction cost, I am not a philanthropic body, I am not altruistic. Whatever it costs me, plus my 15%, I am going to keep, because that's my business.
Yes.
And I'm going to give it to you for that price.
Yes.
So you go and get the land from wherever you want. So is it possible for, let's say, some party like the Communist Party, for example, they say, we are for the common man, we got trillions of acres of Porambok land.
Yes.
We will go and get that for you and build it.
Yeah.
Do you think such a thing can happen?
Yeah, if the government wants to, they can convert all these Porambok, huge parcels of Porambok land. They can give it away and for these low-cost housing to be provided for. I think it did happen. Sometime back, Samathuvapuram and all that they were having,
Yeah. Okay, so she says it can happen, and there have been some instances where things have happened, but they've all ended up badly. And we just try and find out why did they end badly. You know, the few occasions when these things happen, I remember some years ago that they uprooted all these people living on the banks of the Kuam.
Yes.
Put them into trucks. And I think transported them like war criminals to some faraway place where they had built tenements,
Yes.
4-story buildings with no lifts.
Slum rehabilitation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there were no 4-story buildings with no lifts.
Okay.
You know, even they don't want to live in it. After all, who the hell wants to climb up and down all these floors?
Yeah.
So, and there are no employment opportunities where they were rehoused.
Yes.
You got to go and work in each other's houses. As it is, they don't have money. So they ran away, they left it or sold it or, you know.
Yeah.
So these
they
are
rented it, I believe.
Or they rented it in
Yeah.
some cases.
Yeah.
So have you come across a case like that? Have you ever dealt with any of those kind of things?
No, I haven't, but I've heard, just like you.
Yeah. So have you ever visited those slum board things in Torepakam or...
Yeah, but I've heard of slum rehabilitation happening in Karnataka, where the government gave this huge parcel of land running to several hundreds of acres to this company and asked them to build low-cost housing.
Okay.
And they built houses, since the land was free, just for about 500-600 rupees a square foot. They built this low-cost housing. Obviously, it was not with tile and bathrooms were tiled and all that. It was very simple construction.
Okay. Yeah, rough and concrete.
Yeah,
maybe.
so, the area of each apartment was only a house. It was like houses.
Okay.
That concept. It was only just about 300 or 500
Oh, these
square feet.
one-bedroom thingies, the little units.
Yeah, small little units.
Okay.
So 5 lakhs, 3 lakhs and all that, people were able to get this low-cost housing. It did happen in Karnataka.
Are they still with them or did they pass it on to somebody else and
So
sell
whether
it?
what the people who are rehabilitated do with the area given to them, that nobody can keep tabs.
No, that's beyond what a government can do, what anybody can do. If the citizens decide to misuse what has been given to them by the government, that nobody can blame them.
Yeah,
but the problem is that they haven't thought about that before they push them out.
Yes.
They should have factories nearby. There should have been employment opportunities or maybe transport. All that has to be considered. That's not being done. So what is your organization called Kridai? I know the name. I keep seeing it on all the ads.
Yeah.
So where are they in these areas? Instead of just making 7 crore apartments, 10 crore apartments is imported God knows what. Yes. Who wants all that? The bulk of the nation is looking
there are people who are looking for high-end apartments and there are people who look for apartments which cost less, starting from maybe 30 lakhs or whatever. But
even 30 lakhs is absurd. A small family requires 500 square feet.
Yes.
Husband, wife, and maybe one child.
Yes.
500, if you say a square foot costs, I don't know what, 1,000 rupees for basic...
That's not enough for the kind of specifications that a builder has to provide.
No, let's say that's what you're going to give. Can you build for 1,000? It's possible.
If you get subsidies from the government...
No subsidy. You are just told, here's the land.
You can't.
Here's the land, go and build a square foot for 1,000 rupees. You cannot
labor
make...
itself, 700 rupees per square foot will be only the cost of labor alone.
Okay, so 1,000 will go to 1,500, let's say
normally the percentage is 60 and 40. 60 is material and 40 is labor.
Okay.
So 40% is 700. You work backwards and find out what is the total. It comes about 2,000, right, almost.
Okay, so let's say 2,000 rupees is the rock bottom.
Yes.
Then you add on your margins, let's say 10-15% on
That's
that.
right.
So you're going to get, say 2,500 rupees.
Yes.
That 2,500 rupees covers everybody's profits because the material has already been paid for.
Yes.
And there's no land cost because
There's
it's
no
government land.
Yes.
So at 2,500 square feet, a 500 square feet apartment is, how much is that?
12 lakhs.
12 lakhs.
50,000.
So why are we still talking 30 lakhs and 40 lakhs?
Yeah, but then we left out the land component. Where I'm selling for 30 lakhs,
that's
I'm
because you're
including
buying the land and doing it.
Yes, I'm buying the land.
No, I'm talking about in these kind of situations where government gives you land.
Well, fine. It's never going to happen,
Why
unless
is
the
that?
government takes note of what is their duty to provide housing to the economically weaker people.
Isn't that one of our fundamental rights that we have to house
There's
our
so
people?
much of Purumbok land, which is, Purumbok land basically means government land, for which there's no patta, it doesn't belong to anybody.
Yeah.
So it obviously belongs to the government.
Yeah.
So such Purumbok land can be developed in the manner that you're now talking about, and whereby you can provide reasonably
At
cost.
least one demonstration unit can be put up by the Tamil Nadu industry. At least just to say, you give us the land and this is what we can give you.
Definitely, Tamil Nadu government can take the initiative, be the first all over India to do such a...
And don't you think they'll be able to sell these housing at this rate?
Yeah, provided, as you say, there are industries nearby, there is proper, communication to and fro, bus facilities, train
Roads,
facilities,
trains.
Infrastructure.
Now each individual builder is going and picking up what he calls gigantic land parcel of 5 acres, which is a joke actually. How can we have a gigantic parcel of only 5 acres?
Okay, yeah.
Those words are being misused,
Yes.
Large, covered with greenery. Tell me all the usual words that are...
You probably read the ads more than me.
You just pay for them.
Yeah.
So they use all these words and they make perfectly horrible constructions. It doesn't improve their self-respect. They have no regard for the building that they're getting from the government because it's close to collapse when they get it itself. And they probably don't give them lifts. So we treat the poor as worse than animals.
Yeah, you shouldn't. That kind of a concept, you make them climb 4 floors without a lift and you call it low cost housing, that is also not appropriate.
That's why they fail.
Yeah, that's why it fails.
Yeah.
That's why people are moving out of it and coming back to the lands which they were vacated from.
That's why even today city centers are still so much more expensive just because the suburbs haven't developed.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any plans for all these things? How to do it? One thing is free land, but plans?
Plans, somebody should give the free land to us or to anybody.
Let's assume that you'll get the free land. How would you go about
If I get the free land, then I will start construction and provide houses at 11,50,000 as you said, or 12,50,000. Small little independent houses. When the land is free, I can do independent houses.
Why go into individual houses?
Yeah,
you can put a lift also.
I can put a lift also and I can provide even apartments.
Yeah.
No problem.
Today I don't see anything for 11 lakhs in Chennai. Is there any available anywhere?
It's tough. So far away itself, it's about 2.5 and above.
Exactly. So
1,000 square feet is going to cost you 25 lakhs upwards.
Yeah. And that's already out of reach. I feel. So we really have no master plan coming up which will take care of all these problems.
The government should open their eyes, hopefully.
So you guys should go and I guess the builders have to do it. Because you are the ones who are driven by the profit.
See, builders are anyway going to do their projects. So if the government wants to be to provide for the economically weaker people at lower cost, they should take the initiative. The housing,
so you can provide the expertise, they give you the land.
Exactly.
All right. So Rama, thanks a lot for coming.
Thank
you.
you.
Wonderful having you here.
It was a
I
pleasure.
really hope people like you, and you said you're not part of CREDAI. So there are builders outside of this, so you don't have to follow any industry regulation. You're a free bird.
There is no, it's not mandatory to be part of any association.
So maybe something like what we discussed should be brought into the public eye at least. Maybe television can take it forward. Yes. Talk about some really low cost housing. Anyway, thanks for coming and talking to us.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.